don't let you upstream readily. So it's trying to figure out how do we get in front of that CEO. We've gone to HR managers, had some success with HR, but typically what we find is that you need to go even higher to the decision maker. HR has a tendency to be processors, not really implementation of ideas.
So this system is for cleaning.
Yes.
So what if there is an issue or a cavity found? Are they referred?
Yeah, to what happens is the hygienist technically cannot diagnose, but what they'll say to you, and any hygienist will tell you this, they say, I see something here that's suspicious, you need to go see your dentist. They can't say that your bicuspid has decay or whatever. So we would be saying you need to go see your dentist. The key thing to remember is that stats are 75% of Canadians go to the dentist on a regular basis. And what I tell people is that when you buy a new car, you're going to get your major warranty work done at your dealership. But if you're going to get your oil change done, your wiper blades changed, tires rotated, whatever, you're going to go to wherever it's convenient. And that's really what the hygiene component is. The hygiene component is your routine maintenance, and if something does need to be done restoratively, then we'd say go see your dentist. So the hygiene is really the little engine that could in a dental office. Anybody else? I think it's an exciting program, guys. We're really, really pumped about it, and I think you're going to see a lot more of this in the future. So I thank you for your time and your interest, and we'll hope to hear from you.
Thank you, Rick. Next, we're going to have OCION Water Services Group, and John, I'll ask you to come up. Thank you. And Rick, was this your USB?
I took it out already for you.
Thank you, Matthew. Okay. While I'm fiddling with the AV here, I have to say, coming later in the playlist gives you the opportunity to make observations about everybody else. I guess I have to get out of this first. No. What's really interesting, I got out of here now. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I can't see from outside. There we go. There we go. Of course. From the beginning. There you go. First thing I have to say is what a lot of interesting business ideas there are here. It's really quite a different kind of a setup. The other thing I have to say is I'm very pleased to see that there's a thread in what I make to be, if my math is right, about 40% of the presentations so far that have to do with environmental sustainability, or at least consciousness of the environment in some sort of way. And the company that I'm representing, OCION Water Sciences Group, is very much in that space. We're all about water, as you could probably ascertain from our name. I probably don't have to go into a great deal of detail about the issues that the world is facing in terms of its water supply. Back at the turn of the 20th century, there were about 1.5 billion people in the world. There are about 7-odd billion people in the world today, and they haven't made any more water since that time. And in fact, we've done a very good job of impairing the water supply that we have. The population continues to grow. The infrastructure continues to age. Jurisdictions continue not to invest in water-related issues. Obviously, the supply is constant or declining, and the demand is growing. And we've done a great job, as I said, of impairing the little supply that we have. The world market in water treatment for drinking alone is in the order of $500 billion or $500 billion a year. And a great deal of that is synthetic chemicals. And we're not in the synthetic chemical business. Our company has developed a proprietary technology that's based on an aqueous solution of kind of supercharged mineral water. Very, very concentrated ionized minerals of mostly copper, zinc, and silver. They're astonishingly antimicrobial at the molecular level. They kill bacteria, algae, fungus, and viruses in almost any form, and they're completely environmentally responsible. There are natural elements that occur naturally in the environment and return to the environment once they've done their work. They're safe for humans, livestock, food, crops. They've been accredited across a number of jurisdictions as being environmentally safe and safe for consumption. This remarkable little company has basically been hiding under a rock doing R&D for 10 years around the world. Very little work here in Canada, most offshore. It has developed what it calls AIM. It's aqueous ionized matrix. That is a secret sauce, if you will, that when you apply certain elements to it, does two things. It allows, it's suspended in water, allows the water compound to penetrate the water body or whatever you're applying it to equally. It disperses very rapidly at about 6 meters a minute. And secondly, it remains in suspension indefinitely until it targets a bacterial organism. And I'll show you in a moment how it works. It cleans, improves, and protects water quality, and it is an antiviral and antibacterial agent. And as I said, no synthetic compounds are used at all. The company does two things. It has two basic business streams. The first is we treat water, whether it's to drink, to swim in, whether it's wastewater, whether it's water in a pond on a golf course, or water in an irrigation pipe. We treat water as an end product and clean it of bacteria, viruses, and any contamination naturally. The second is we use water as a carrier to fight bacterial, fungal, and other infections in plants, animals, crops, livestock, that sort of thing. It has an astonishing variety of uses, and it's incredibly effective, I can tell you from personal experience. The company is private. It has been around since 2005. As I said, it's been focused entirely on research and development and product development during that period of time. The headquarters, the company itself, its plant, and its warehouse is based just outside of Vancouver in Richmond. It has 4 products that have been completely developed and are approved across the world for drinking water and other purposes, and more on the way. We've recently rebranded, restructured, and repositioned the company just this past year. New management, of which I'm one of, a new board, and new people right across the board, both in Canada and in the United States, and new people we've just begun to bring online in Europe. We've repositioned the company as a triple bottom line company. That is, we pay equal attention to profit, to people, and to the planet, to the environment itself, which I believe is a somewhat popular notion these days. I would think in 10 years ago, if this same class would have been held, we wouldn't have had 40% of your prospective target assignments based on sustainable development or sustainable businesses. And I would suspect that in 10 years from today, most of them would have that element as part of their business plan and part of their core values. This looks like a very big company with a very large global footprint. But it isn't. It looks that way, and we do have people in all these countries primarily doing field testing. The basic issue around the development of a company like this with a product like this is the regulatory barriers are very high. It takes a long time to convince an EPA, a government in Europe, an Australian environmental protection group, whatever, to allow you to use your product. It takes years of testing, applied science, laboratory work, field testing, and case studies before you can finally get registered and approved to sell. And some of these countries are much, much more advanced than others because the work was initially done there. The company initially went to countries where the regulatory barriers were not high, but the level of issues, problems, the need was very great. Countries like Malaysia and Thailand, countries like the Philippines and Greece are much, much more advanced in terms of our penetration of those markets. But the company has done, during that 10 years of R&D, while it was hiding from the public and hiding from its commercialization, has been able to garner a number of certifications by regular authorities around the world. Health Canada has had PMRA approval for several years now and is approved for treatment of drinking water. And we treat drinking water in a number of communities around the country. It satisfies the ANSI Standard 60, which is the highest standard for potable drinking water in the world. It recently, very recently, just a couple of months ago, achieved EPA approval in the United States, and that's what this presentation is about, which is very difficult to get, and it's probably the broadest and most sweeping registration success that we've had so far. And it goes down the list. The product, as I said, has been extensively tested over 10 years in the field and is now certified in a number of countries around the world. The primary markets are huge. Right now they're served primarily by synthetic chemical producers and suppliers. Chlorine is probably the most ubiquitous water treatment chemical used on the planet Earth today. It is, in many forms, when it combines with other compounds, carcinogenic. It is known to be. 120 countries around the world have called for a ban of chlorine importation, but the chlorine lobby is almost as strong as the tobacco lobby was in the 70s. And it'll take a long time, and of course, unlike tobacco, in order to unseat chlorine as the treatment of choice, you have to have an alternative, and this is an alternative. You can see the size of some of these markets. Drinking water purification around the world is an $85 billion market. Agriculture and horticulture, using water as a carrier to treat issues in agriculture, is a $50-odd billion market. The municipal waste problem, as population grows, the waste obviously grows with the population, and that's a $50+ billion problem.